Elementary Science Class 7. Respiration in Organisms. Why do we respire? Do you know why we need to respire, or breathe, every day?
No, I don't. Can you tell me more about it?
Well, all living organisms, including us, need energy to perform various functions. This energy comes from the food we eat.
Okay, so how does the food we eat give us energy?
The process of breaking down food, especially glucose, with the help of oxygen is called aerobic respiration. This releases energy for our cells.
I see. But what if we don't have enough oxygen?
Good question. In the absence of oxygen, our cells can also break down glucose through anaerobic respiration. This is called anaerobic respiration.
How an organism processes anaerobic respiration?
There are some organisms such as yeast that can survive in the absence of air. They are called anaerobes. In the absence of oxygen, glucose breaks down into alcohol and carbon dioxide.
And what happens when our cells do anaerobic respiration?
Anaerobic respiration in our muscle cells can lead to the buildup of lactic acid, causing muscle cramps. This is why we feel sore after intense exercise. In the absence of oxygen, glucose breaks down into alcohol and carbon dioxide. Breathing. Did you know that we can't survive for long without breathing?
Really? I didn't realize that. How long can we hold our breath?
Let's try an experiment. Close your nostrils and mouth tightly and look at a watch. See how long you can hold your breath.
Okay, let me try that. Whoa, I could only hold it for about 30 seconds. That's not very long at all.
Exactly. Breathing is a continuous process that goes on throughout our lives. Inhaling air rich in oxygen and exhaling air rich in carbon dioxide is essential for our survival.
I see. So how many times do we normally breathe in a minute?
That's a great question. The number of times a person breathes in a minute is called the breathing rate. Let's try an activity to find out your breathing rate.
Okay, what do I need to do?
Breathe in and out normally, and count how many times you do that in a minute. Then, try it again after a brisk walk or running, and see if your breathing rate changes.
Interesting. I'll give it a try. Wow, my breathing rate was much faster after the running compared to when I was resting.
Exactly. When we need more energy, our body requires more oxygen, so our breathing rate increases to supply more oxygen to the cells. How do we breathe? Normally, we take in air through our nostrils. The air passes through the nasal cavity and reaches our lungs through the windpipe.
Wow, so the air goes into our lungs. What happens then?
The lungs are located in the chest cavity, which is surrounded by ribs. There's also a large, muscular sheet called the diaphragm that forms the floor of the chest cavity.
I see, so the diaphragm and ribs must play an important role in breathing.
Exactly. During inhalation, the ribs move up and outwards, and the diaphragm moves down. This increases the space in the chest cavity, and air rushes into the lungs.
And during exhalation, the ribs move down and inwards, and the diaphragm moves up, right?
Yes, that's correct. This reduces the size of the chest cavity, and the air is pushed out of the lungs.
I can feel the movement of my abdomen when I breathe. Let's try an activity to measure the chest expansion.
Great idea. Let's see how much your chest can expand compared to your classmates. What do we breathe out? Alright, let's explore what we breathe out. Do you know what's in the air we exhale?
I'm not sure. Is it just carbon dioxide?
Not quite. The air we exhale is actually a mixture of gases, including carbon dioxide, water vapor, and other trace gases.
Wow, I didn't know that. How can we test what's in the air we breathe out?
Well, let's do an experiment. We'll pour some freshly prepared lime water into a test tube and blow through a straw. Let's see what happens.
Okay, let's try it.
As we blow through the straw, the lime water changes appearance. This is because the carbon dioxide we exhale reacts with the lime water, forming a white precipitate.
Interesting. So the carbon dioxide we breathe out is what causes the change in the lime water.
Exactly. The carbon dioxide we exhale is a byproduct of the cellular respiration process, where our bodies convert the food we eat into energy. Breathing in other animals. Did you know that not all animals breathe the same way we do?
Really? I thought all animals had lungs like us.
That's a common misconception. Let me tell you about how some other organisms breathe.
Okay, I'm listening.
Insects, like cockroaches, have small openings on the sides of their bodies called spiracles. They have a network of air tubes called tracheae that help them exchange gases.
Wow, that's so different from how we breathe. What about other animals?
Earthworms, for example, can breathe through their moist, slippery skin. And frogs, though they have lungs, can also breathe through their skin.
Interesting. So how do animals that live in water, like fish, breathe?
Fish have gills, which are projections of their skin. The gills are well supplied with blood vessels, allowing them to extract oxygen from the water. Do plants also respire? Did you know that plants also respire, just like other living organisms?
Really? I didn't know that. How do plants respire?
Well, plants take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide, just like we do. This process helps them generate energy for their survival.
Wow, that's fascinating. I didn't realize plants had such an important process going on.
Yes, and each part of the plant can independently take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. The leaves have tiny pores called stomata that help with this exchange.
Interesting. What about the roots? Do they play a role in plant respiration?
Absolutely. The root cells also need oxygen to generate energy, and they take up air from the air spaces present in the soil.
I see. So if a potted plant is overwatered, what would happen?
Good question. Overwatering can reduce the air spaces in the soil, making it harder for the roots to take in the necessary oxygen for respiration.